Much for being here with us. Honestly, is yesterday when I watched the film myself, I thought, wow, I'm going to meet you guys today, so we can talk in person about the creative approach that you had with this project. And what I've noticed, the first thing that came up to my mind is that you're crossing the boundary between fiction and documentary, because usually films, as we see, are only documentary, only fiction as a drama. But right now we started the drama aspect of it, and then we moved to documentary. Why would you choose this format, even though it's experimental and not the usual thing that filmmaker does? So, if any of you want to answer?
I can take.
Yeah, of course, you're going.
So I think the reason why I decided to include the real people, because I'm close to a lot of Ukrainian activists and I'm friends with them, and I know that they have a lot of things to say, and it will be more easier to convince straight people and other people who are against LGBTQ that we are the same as they are. So I think it's more powerful in my opinion, and yeah, it was easier. We just made like a few posts on social media of Kharkiv Pride, and people started to reply, and we did like a casting, so we selected the best stories and the best actors slash real people, and yeah, that's how it
There's
happened.
also like make a bridge from this fiction, this world we created, which is inside out, and and show that actually it's not only like some people, any imaginary people has this problem, but actually real people, and here they are, and they have a story, and I believe that's really nice that some actors who was on a fiction then just represent themselves and their story, and they are real, and they need this legislation right now.
Yeah, and not in the future, not in 10 years' time. It's inhuman, and it should be done now, yeah. Just take action. And obviously about your own works as well. Would you like to introduce yourself as what you do as well, so we could connect the film to your own works? So do you only do the video formats, or do you do photography? If you want to start, Aleh, yeah?
Yeah, I do different formats. I have a media project and work with a journalist around the topic of LGBTQ rights and xenophobia in general. So I run LGBTQ media Russian speaker in in Belarus, and we have some project. We're trying to also to do it not only journalistic, but also work with artists, with people who do graphic and do photo and make collaborations. And also we're trying to work with education and topic of xenophobia. And with photo, today you could see the other project which more with a photo. Yeah. And we have our with Andrew personal story inside this one. So I just trying to explore that's my a life story, exploring xenophobia, and xenophobia of different people. And I believe the art it's kind of universal language, which just it's easier to use this one than others to explain, to find the common ground, and it's just a pure. So it's different form, but usually one topic.
Yeah, it will reach the hearts of people in any corner of the world, I think. And what about you? So if you would like to.
I would like to say that I started my video LGBTQ activism 6 years ago, and since that time I'm trying to make every year some educational content about LGBTQ topic, but last year I also started HIV topic, because I think it's important, and we don't have much people who want to talk about this through creative projects, let's say. And this year I also will make a project about sexual education for youth people. Everything since this 2 years I'm doing remotely online with my team who staying in Ukraine. And I think I have a combination with people who are like famous and work in like industry of like in television and music, because I also do music videos, fashion films, and I try to invite them to my project. So with them I have the biggest impact I can do to the wider audience. So the media are interested in the project. So for example, in this marriage and equality video we invited this straight couple of Volodymyr and Dasha. They are one of the most famous Ukrainian couple, but also one of Volodymyr is very famous singer in Ukraine. And so when we published this video, it gained like 2 million views on Instagram only. So in like 2 days, and all main media wrote about this, and it was playing on 2 biggest streaming platforms. On YouTube, we gained like 300,000 of views and thousands of comments and likes. So this video is like traveling around the world. We been selected to a few film festivals in Korea, in Australia. We got some mentionings. So this is my way how I try to present Ukraine and show another angle of how brave and beautiful Ukrainians are through the war, obviously. But I think it's interesting, and at this time when everyone are a bit tired from this topic, and we need to find like some new angle how we can catch the people's attention. So that's one of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
No, honestly, you're doing a lot of work to dedicate yourself throughout the years to make at least like one educational project. And you're doing activism as well, and just advocating for
I just advocating through the video now, but I was in the beginning of the war I was creative director of Ukraine Pride NGO, so we did a lot of interviews and projects when we had a lot of attention and requests from Western media to speak about Ukraine, but through the angle of LGBTQ people, because it was interesting for them. So like in the first maybe 7 months since war started, I don't remember how many interviews I gave and how many projects we did. You can Google it and find like some things, but
10,000 articles.
A lot. Yeah, I dedicated myself just to be productive in that field because it was important. We also did when I arrived to UK, we presented another also similar short social video on stage of Brighton in Brighton Pride, London in Pride. We created Ukrainian column we call on the Pride. So we wore black outfits and just Ukrainian and rainbow flags. So it was like we created like some things how we can
Let's visit Liverpool Pride.
Yeah, we're waiting for you here, of course. And just in general, there are a number of organizations in Ukraine. And just in general, maybe in Eastern Europe as well, because you're originally from Ukraine, yes, right? And you're from Belarus, yeah.
My way was through Ukraine.
Through Ukraine as well. So if you connect these, if you take Ukraine just in general, How do you think these organizations represent LGBTQ in this environment that we're in right now? And do you think your projects help to reach more people? Like you mentioned, millions of people saw it through social media. Do you think there's any other approaches that you can approach people as well through your film?
Yeah, I think social media are the most powerful, and I remember when I just joined to Kyiv Pride team in 2018 because we also did another powerful video about coming outs. We helped to gather more people to Kyiv Pride on the street, so it was like X2 more people than the previous year. So I think this is the
gathering the right attention.
Video and music art creativity works well to help gather people and fight for rights in countries like Ukraine. At least I'm not sure about other countries, but we're going through this process as in new country without big experience, for example, as in UK. But it's very interesting path. And
what did the creative team behind this project wanted to achieve by showing this film in general to the general public? Was it just the awareness and like we talked before, or was it to take action and actually actualize the legalization of a marriage?
Okay.
I can say there is a synergy between different actions. The last 2 years I also was partly working for a huge project, emergency support for Ukraine. It was a huge grant program, EU-based, and when we designed how to spread the money among Ukrainian NGOs and media, we also were thinking that it's actually good to have right now huge campaign to support a number of Ukrainian LGBTQ organizations, but not only, also, for example, Suspilne. It's a main television, one of the main TV station in Ukraine, and we supported a number projects which in different way trying to lobby right now legislation for equal marriages. So I believe there is a number of ways to work with people, and not only with people in power, or also push through the petitions, through the art, through the public discussions, through the commercial on TV, and through movies like this. So when it's all together, there is easier to work with public. And speaking about this movie, when you're trying to change something, you need to have supporters, not only through the community, but the general society need to understand why it's necessary. And it's also a work from the one part for the rights, from the other parts with the fears, with the xenophobia of the people. And I believe this movie quite effectively shows that queer people, equally fighting in the front line, equally have problems same, but don't have the equal rights. And through this, it's explainer and also a little showing the human faces of the community.
Yeah, no, understandable. And right now when you show this film in any kind of public space, I know UK has a different background in accepting people from different backgrounds, different sexualities, races. What is showing a film, for example, in Ukraine, where these kind of subjects are still a taboo for the general public, or are they accepted well in the Eastern European region as in Ukraine? Have you showed any screenings back there? Or you tried to just explore?
I think we just showed online everything because we had these platforms and YouTube. But the comments about the video were mostly good, which shows that Ukraine is moving to the right side, you know, because when I started like 6 years ago, the comments were different, and it was much harder to convince, for example, celebrities to join, you know, right side and help, you know, talk about LGBTQ. Like they were like worrying about some, you know, groups who might be against, who might come to their concert after, for example, and just like to do some protest. But like now, everyone just don't care. And as in UK, probably the people who are against LGBTQ people or other groups of people, they look like more, you know, I don't know, dumb, or how to say. Like,
no, that's
not well educated, you know, like
marginal.
Weird.
Like more marginal.
it's not usual.
It's
yeah.
not usual now, yeah. So
No.
it's good, I think.
I will
Yeah.
put some bitterness
Please do.
to this one. It's really goes well, but like in general, society is still quite homophobic. I checked the data right before the meeting, just about hate crimes, the statistic, to check it out, like what's the general situation. And from 2021 to 2022, it was 130 hate crimes, registered one. So, like, we have a really positive shift, general, and like I also have had experience with different projects about LGBTQ community, and it depends with the comments. Sometimes it's really hateful, and sometimes it's really good. And I also believe it depends on how clear and pure message. If you got the people who watch it, if they really feel empathy. And I believe in this case they are, like people just feel it's right, and you can't watch this video and say something bad. You just can't do that. You probably will empathize.
Yeah, because like again, I really love the approach that it was mixed with drama and documentaries. That you show that people are human, and it's real stories at the end. It's real people fighting for their rights and just being themselves, basically. And just how does this project help to fight xenophobia? Do you think, like any kind of like inequality? Does it inspire people? Do you think the general public? Did it give you like a feedback? They're like, that's it. Tomorrow I'm changing my ways. So these kind of like radical approaches. So it's more like slightly, just little by little, giving people information that they can take in and make their own decision.
I believe that's a long game, and this game never ends, actually. I believe there is no the final point, even like when we're speaking about UK and saying that like there is a better situation. It is better. It is much, much better comparing like my like a previous experience being gay in Belarus, Ukraine, and UK. Wow, that's.
Would you like to describe the difference? Like, how did you feel? I remember from Digital Window as well, I saw some sneak peeks of your works and how you described it. So
yeah, it's like you can't just share your identity. Like basically, it's forbidden. You can't, like for example, people in work, your friends, your parents, they might know that you're gay, but you need to pretend that you're straight. You need to speak as a straight, walk as a straight, move as a straight. If you're not, it will be laughing, it will be aggression, something like that. So, like you basically all the time you need to mimicate and you need to hide and you need to just make this 24 hours performance of the straight person. And that's really a lot of energy. That's really make you exhausted. And yeah, I call it like a social castration, when society actually castrate your identity. They just don't give you opportunity to show yourself, and you need to play all the time. That was like my feeling in Belarus. On 2021, we had a revolution. It wasn't successful, and I was forced to move to Ukraine because it was a danger to be arrested, like for 10 years. And I moved to Ukraine, and I realized it's already better. It's already more space. It's already like you can actually express yourself. It was one step forward. And when we moved here in UK, already together with my partner, and that was completely something new, because we could exist as a couple. There is no need to lie with friends, brothers, whatever, to rent apartments, for example. We can just do that. There is no need to lie to our friends about our relationship. I can just introduce my partner, and that's all right. And I can just kiss him in the middle of the street or hug. I did it before, for example, in Belarus and Ukraine, but when you do it there, it's like an act of the protest. You're looking around and you're trying to scan if you could be beaten, if there is danger. And after that, you're like, okay, fuck it.
Just go for it, yeah.
I will go for it. But, in this moment, you already do your activism. It's not like a nice moment where just you have this intimacy. No, it's like you activist. You don't feel oxytocin, you feel adrenaline. So that's the difference.
He's very brave. He's very brave.
It is very brave, yeah.
I never kiss my partner in public places in Ukraine.
You don't think because of the same situation, I
Yeah,
assume,
but now we also working with Kharkiv Pride and Kiev Pride on another project for the bill which helps to protect LGBTQ and other people with differences against hate crimes. And we're also gonna include some victims of hate crimes in Ukraine. Some of them are also a bit famous in Ukraine, so also we're gonna involve a lot of celebrities to this. We have this idea and now, like, trying to find funds because it's very the main thing is to find money. We found like money through some dating app, Hornet, or grants from ARIM or other organization. So it was like a long process. So we now step into the new process of raising money. But as soon as we have, we will continue our activism in this way.
No, yes, of course. And what do you think? What kind of action that is being taken right now in Ukraine? So, for example, you doing your projects with Kharkiv Pride. Is there any other ways of supporting LGBT, like queer community in Ukraine? Like, is it mainly like for protests, or there's like official ways to reach the government to speak out and say that this is enough? It's time for us to be free.
They signed petition now and promoting this, so it will easier maybe convince the officials in our country to vote for this bill. That's probably the main thing we can do now. And this video was like one of the drop in that ocean with the different actions, but hopefully we will have some progress in this very soon.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll reach the right people.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's 2024 already. I can't believe we're still talking about
gosh.
this. It's awful, but yeah, it's all the cross fingers that it all works out. And right now, I'll just ask: anyone has any questions or anything they want to? Oh, okay. Okay. Who wants to go? Okay. Sarah.
So I suppose my question is, you've employed a certain deceit in the film. You've employed an approach in the film, which is obviously reversing roles in terms of who, that basic right. Because I suppose the question that I've got is, what was the response to the deceit? Because I think that was very clever, and very obvious in one way, but also very clever So I was just wondering whether, in terms of the comments, what sort of feedback you got from that, because I think that probably would touch that different, the straight demographic in a way that perhaps the explanations later on, there's a different approach there, isn't there? There's a sort of, I suppose, so for me, the two things, one is like, imagine it's you. If you're straight, you imagine it's you in this situation. Of course, it's not, this shouldn't be. Yeah? The other is, we're really good people. And obviously, queer LGBTQ people are the same as everybody else. Some really good people, some not so good people, some, there's the same breadth of people, isn't it? So you're kind of doing two things in the film. You were saying, you're straight, for you people, imagine being in this position. And then you were saying, there's this group of people who are all really good, doing really worthy stuff, fighting in the war, you were really using two, I suppose, we'd say deceit, but I think I've got a very broad vocabulary. Most people wouldn't use that word. So, but you were playing with a straight audience in two ways, I would suggest. And I just wondered what the comments were, what the feedback was on those two approaches.
We've got some negative comments, obviously. I think some of the straight people, because the short version of the film was published on the social media of this very famous couple, and so they have mostly straight people, people with kids. So for them it was like a bit shock for some of them, But also, I think this couple, they convinced also this audience in a good way to think more positive toward that. But we saw some negative comments that like they lose their mind, what's going on, something like that. But overall, the comments were good, I would say. But some of people were shocked and helped us to make our video more viral. They wrote the comments. It helped us, so it also
it all worked out.
They didn't know that they helping.
But it's still also about proportion. I had experience with some media project, and when message is not strong enough, usually it's 70 hateful % of comments and 30 of supportive. And when you have a quite clear message, it's vice versa. So in this case, it's a massive wave for support. And only, of course, that was the people who was just pissed off of it. Really? You saying that? But generally it's okay.
Well, I think that proportion is important, isn't it? Because those people seeing themselves in the minority in terms of the comments that come in. So if people see mostly supportive comments and they put up a negative comment, and then they often review the comments over time, don't they? Because they want to see that lots of people are supporting them. Obviously, if that is the percentage, if it's 30 negative comments and 70 positive comments, people do start to question whether actually their perception is out of kilter with the way that the world is, and most people's perception. People don't like to feel that they've got a minority perception.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's very encouraging.
And I want to add that most of the negative comments were from people who are Christians, who believe in God. So they were, they comments were about God, and that God created man and woman, not man and man. You probably heard about this. That's because Ukraine is still very religious country, and a lot of maybe people from 40 plus years old, or maybe 50, they still like go to church every Sunday, or like trying to, in small cities, the church still like have this power to impact on
I think
people.
that's pretty much, well, it's changing, isn't it, across the world? Because I can remember that was at the time when that was very much the case here. Now, obviously, we've got some quite famous queer vicars that are, the Church of England has embraced people from the LGBTQ community to be the priests, basically the equivalent of the priest. But I can remember, I'm older than everyone else, I can remember when that wasn't the case, and I can remember when actually what you're talking about was also, certainly during HIV crisis, the kick-off of that here under Thatcher, there was some very, there still is a problem here. It's not, it isn't, your experience is great, but there is still a hate crime in the UK. There's still a lot to do. But I think that gradual shift even for religion, our state religion recognises, do you know what I mean? It's still not completely there. So I think I think the fear thing, when people hide behind certain things, I think sometimes religion is just a way of hiding behind something that you fear or you're not comfortable with. Not necessarily to do with, I'm not religious, but there are great religious people as well in the world. So it's a sort of basic human thing, and you can align yourself to different reasons why.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, I think, where you've got the most liberal religions, people do believe in the religion and also are LGBTQ plus and operate within that world. So I think it feels very positive what you're doing. It feels like you're edging forward in a very positive way.
I'm also interested in the logistics of like the production part and everything. So how long did it take you to like gather everyone sort of and collect everyone together to make it seem like so smooth and everything, if that's the right word? Because the movie itself also, like the actors you were talking about, it just seems like to play along really well. So I was like a bit interested like in the time frame of how long did it take you to produce and everything.
Kind of a similar question about the actors as well. How was the creative process and how much did they participate in shaping the scenario and the storyline? Because we in the gallery are very interested in socially engaged art when the community is involved in the creative practice. So I was wondering if that was the case here. How much agency did they have?
I want to say that with each of them I had conversation before, so we had like maybe 40 minutes or maybe 1 hour of conversation online. I explained them the story, we discussed what they want to say, so they were prepared, and they also, I think it's very important when people trust and know who you are and know that they're gonna participate in some like good successful project, so that motivates them to open themselves and just be the best version of themselves in front of the camera. So I think it helps me to reach all of these people, because they all are good and famous in some way. So some of them are iconic TV presenter from the beginning of independence of Ukraine. Some of them are like activists also from Mariupol who worked with LGBTQ youth. So like they also were very good people, and during the shoot we didn't have much time to be honest to like have this time to like ask many different and unnecessary questions. We were like moving very quick. We had like a big camera for this interview, and main camera worked on this short scripted part, and yeah, I think they did well. Because sometimes people can shy and don't know what to say, but these people are like professional in what they want to say, and even like use this fuck you homophobes.
Very natural, I think, especially in bloopers. I think for me the bloopers were the most simplest part.
Yeah.
Probably because it's so important for them. Like they
Yes.
genuinely find it important, so that's why.
A little bit of a spice of a cultural thing. Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, so I think is there any more questions in discussion? So thank you so much.
Thank you.